so much of our culture or society tells us that saying no is kind of harsh. Saying no is not nice. Saying no is maybe like, you know, pushing people away, or is a rejection, and we don't want to reject people. So there is sort of an implicit, oh, I can't possibly do that if I want to be a nice or kind person. I don't know if anyone else perceives saying no in a similar way and is afraid of, yeah. So how will my no be received is often the very first question. I would invite you to turn that around and to be like, okay, what if instead of saying no to everything and pushing everything around, we perceive the no as actually more of an like a boundary that protects, or also just makes us very aware and clear in what is inside the circle of ourselves, of that which is good for us. So saying yes to ourselves, saying yes to our needs, saying yes to our own capacity. Okay. So you might have come across that saying, a no to someone else can be a yes to yourself. And I very much support that. I think one major challenge I keep encountering as well is to say no, we also need to be really aware of a boundary, first of all. Before I keep going into more of a sort of theoretical exploration, I invite you to get up with me and explore the no pose that we'll look into deeper today. And if you have some space to stand up and do it fully standing, that would be great. And the more you join in and do it with your full body, the more you can get an experiential feeling of it. If that's not possible for you right now for any reason, you can do this sitting and simply focus on the hands, focus on small other indicators that I'll give to get into that pose. So I'll get up as well for no pose. So this way you can see my whole body. Come into a sort of wider stance with one knee bent, so that you have a solid sort of foundation. And it's not like in normal yoga, some of you might be yogis, not like the warrior, but more like a karate stance. It's a wider stance. I'm going to show it sideways. And then one hand is in front of you, the other to your side. Yeah. I'm also going to keep an eye on you. And then feel into what that is like for you. Is this familiar? Is this not necessarily the posture? You might have never taken this shape, like what it represents, how it feels like. I mean, personally, I'm a martial artist. For me, this is something like, okay, I've practiced this a lot of times, so even the shape is familiar. But is this familiar to you in the quality of it? Okay. And then in a second, I'll invite you to come out of it. And notice while you do so, what you feel. So this is what we call the moment of truth. You can like maybe notice, oh, okay, this was exhausting, or oh, this felt great, this felt strong, this felt whatever, and I need more of it. I don't know, maybe some of you had either experiences, just to point to that. All right, let's come into it again. You can change feet to equal it. Some of our yogis here. Okay, so now think of whatever it was earlier on that you wanted to say no to. And in your own language, imagine that this is right in front of you right now. And in your own language, say no to that thing or to that person or to that request out loud. You're all on mute, so no. Once again, and listen to yourself. No. One more time. No. How does that feel? Okay, come out of it for a moment and come back to the screen with me. Oh. So I'm curious to hear how that was for you. First of all, was it familiar? You can give me also a wave or like some sort of response. Was that like a posture that felt like, yeah, like totally, I can do this. This is familiar. I'm doing this. Yeah. For who was this more novel? And like, oh, and who even had like a sense of, ooh, I need more of this. Like maybe anyone. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we have a distribution of different responses here. Definitely. So whether you're good at it or not, what I want to get your attention to right now is how you said no. So in the tone of your voice, and you can even go back into it in a mini version, if you say no, there can be so many different ways of saying no. I can even demonstrate that. Like if I was to say, even just sitting right now, could be like, no. Or it could be, no. Or it could be, no. Or it could be, no. They're all different variations. And even in the tone of my voice, there's a huge difference. So for me, there's one major thing to pay attention to is often the alignment or the coherence that we can perceive between like the body and the message and the intention that is behind it. And if they're all aligned, it usually has a very different impact than when we're kind of like, I say no, but actually I'm not really saying no. Does that make sense? Like, do you find yourself sometimes being like, I want to really say no, and I'm saying no, but I'm not really saying no, or somebody doesn't actually hear or respect my no, and I don't actually know why? Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna in a moment explore that in a physical kind of way of what that might look like, and that might give you a few more insights of what you're actually doing and why your no isn't landing. The other possibility that happens is you're saying no, and suddenly someone's like, why are you being so aggressive? Or you don't have to shout at me, or taking it in a very harsh way. And that's usually at the core of it, right? We're afraid of, oh my God, how is somebody going to perceive my no? And I don't want to, come across as this, but like I'm also just defending my own boundaries. And have you ever had that experience? That somebody reacted really, yeah. And sometimes it's totally on them, but sometimes it's actually something we're not aware of doing. And I would claim that this happens when we're actually saying our no too late, when we've dragged it out, when we've waited, when we've been like, okay, okay, okay. And then eventually it's like, no. Okay, if you want to get up with me and feel that, what it feels like in your body, then please do that. I'm going to lift this a bit so hopefully you can see me better. So let's come back into the no pose. And I'm going to show you a few deviations. So this pose, I haven't explained too much in detail, has a right shape. And one thing I want to point you to is, where is your hand? Because the way I'm holding it right now, facing you, it's actually right in front of my heart. Where's your hand? Is it out here? Or maybe across your body? What's your natural tendency? Some of that might be anatomical, but some of it might actually reveal something about your pattern. It might be like, I'm saying no, but actually there's no real boundary. I'm not setting the boundary here. It's like, no, but it can come right through because I'm not holding my boundary. I'm not holding my ground. Okay. Or it could be like overly protective, like completely. What about the other hand? I'm going to turn to let you see that. If you get tired at any point, you can shift legs around as you feel comfortable. So what about the other hand though? Where is that other hand for you? We all have eyes. We all can actually perfectly see what I'm doing. I think you can see that. But yours might still be somewhere else. Might be a bit up front here, maybe a little back, maybe a little down. Maybe your hand is open. All these little things can give you an indication, because this hand might actually represent the consequence of your no. Is there a consequence to your no? If you don't have a backup, if you don't hold your no and you have an actual like, okay, if that, then that, this is enough, setting a boundary, saying no to something. But if there's nothing behind it, why would somebody respect your no? So if there's an open hand or no hand, or you're completely letting it flop, try that even with me. Even if you didn't do that, what is that like? Does it feel less strong? Is there a difference? Or try the other one. If you bring your hand here, almost at the same height of the front hand, you're like, no, and I'm ready to actually punch you in the face if you don't like. That could be one of these, like, I'm ready to already attack. This is not me setting a boundary. This is me already attacking. It's like right in the face, right? Okay, shake it off for a moment. Again, there is no like A means B, and like if you do that, then that's you. It's an inquiry. You can ask yourself, are you doing one of these in your life? And maybe you have a, yeah, actually, there's no consequence to my no. Damn. And play with it. And even in that simple posture, it might reveal a lot. So another one, just to give you an idea, and you can do that with me again, is the front arm and your upper body. If you pay attention to that, is there a no? Bring your arm really close to you. How solid is your no? How clear are you with your boundaries? Are you taking space with like, this is me, these are my boundaries, and I'm holding them strong here? Or is it like, I'm actually like trying here and it's really close to me, and like actually somebody's in here already and I'm even leaning back maybe? Try that. Even if you say no out loud now, what is it like? No, maybe? And again, to contrast the opposite, come leaning forward. So if you're pushing away, that might be the no you give someone when you've taken too long. It might be combined with that. It might be like, no, and it might be coming across as aggressive. If you find that forward tendency, if you find that overextended arm, it's like, I actually want to push away. And oftentimes, shake that out again, I feel it straining. I relate that to our base. So all starts with, how solid is my base? How solid is my sense of, okay, we had a beautiful session with Jamie earlier where she went into taking a stand. What do you stand for? And having a stand, like solidly rooted on the ground with that base, immovable, but like connected to the ground, is where you build your no on. And from here, like having a solid structure that isn't exhausting, but upright, with some sort of like poise. And coming from here, you can even bring it out from your heart and push it out, fingers closed. And that you know you have a consequence in your back pocket. It doesn't need to be up front here. It doesn't need to like, you don't need to hide it somewhere either. The sneaky one. You know, if you don't respect my no, I'm gonna slap you across the face or something. But you know you have that consequence, you know you have your solid ground, and you have that boundary clear. So if you drop into that and explore maybe by coming back and forward a little bit, playing with that, finding that middle that feels like a solid no. Okay, and if you say no one more time now, aloud, did anything change? No. Feeling your feet solid on the ground, your hand in front of your heart, protecting what you value. You know your stand. You have a consequence here if it's not respected. You don't need to bring it out yet. It's just ready here, ready and relaxed. And then breathe. Relax a little bit, and especially relax your face. And then say no again. No. Okay, shake that out. And you can come back to the screen with me. I'm curious, how was that for you? Did you have any insights about yourself simply based on posture, simply based on a shape you're taking? And I've given you a few ideas of what certain things might mean, but you'll have the answers for that. You'll have the actual answer, what that means for you in your life. And maybe also where you need to make some adjustments to have a solid no. Strong feeling of boundaries, yeah. The position of the pelvis makes a great difference, absolutely. And that's really based in the martial arts. Everything comes from the hara, from the center, and this is where we hold our power. This is where the movement starts. And this is also the core of our body. It's really the powerhouse, the whole area of the hara, pelvis, belly, that whole area. My voice was more grounded and deeper. Yeah, exactly. And it's not about like me telling you, okay, now slow down your voice, drop it a few tones down, and say it in this particular way with this intonation, and that'll make all the difference. No, it'll automatically shift and adjust once you go into a solid embodiment of your no. I don't say no soon enough. Yeah. And this happened to me so many times. I would snap at people. I'd be like, no. And all it was like me not respecting my own boundary early enough, not going, oh, actually, there's something that's crossing a line for me, and I better say no already. No, I was like, no, it's still fine. 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 Until I went, ugh. And bouncing back from that is like a rubber band that suddenly like goes in your face. So if you stretch that rubber band too much, probably it doesn't have the best impact on the person you're conversing with. When one hand is softer than the other, I felt really ambiguous. Yeah, so my no was unclear. Yeah, if you sent mixed messages to someone, like no, but yes, but no, but yes. And this is an area that I'm personally very passionate about, because looking at a lot of our culture currently, there's so much giving away of responsibility. And there is like a very clear dynamic where someone becomes a perpetrator and someone is a victim. But many times there's a blurriness when boundaries aren't clearly set. And I feel there's such a need to learn to say no in a very clear way and to become aware of our own boundaries, to be able to state them early enough so that it doesn't get confusing, that it doesn't become a maybe, because any maybe is a no. And that's one thing I want to leave you with as well is anytime you're not sure if it's a yes, anytime you're like, no, yes, and you feel that discrepancy between I don't actually know where, pause, take a breath, even ask, hold on, I need a moment. Take a bit of space from the other person if that's in a conversation or in a situation. Take a breath, give yourself a bit of space. It's almost like taking a step back. When somebody, even in that pose, I'm going down low now, is coming really close to me, here, I can be like, even that is a no. I can be like, hold on, pause, no, stop right here. I need a moment before I can know in my own system whether this is a yes or a no.